Hello, hello. It's me, Dr. C. Guys, I just wanted to stop by for just a minute and address some things that I'm seeing posted on Facebook as being major issues for some folks. The first of those, well, before I do that though, remember if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and when that bell comes up, click on that and YouTube will notify you anytime I post a new video. So now, back to what I was saying. I'm seeing a lot of posts and reading a lot of comments about changes with VIP Kid, and I know that there's a lot of controversy. First major controversy is with the pay scale. And while I'm not thrilled with it, um, I've decided to accept it. I mean, my daddy always told me, son, you have two choices when you're in a situation that you are unhappy with. And he always said, the first choice is you change the situation. I can't change the pay scale for VIP Kid. The second choice you have is to leave the situation. Well, while that is an option, that's not an option for me. I believe you all have to do what is best for you. I think that if you believe that the changes in the pay scale are negatively affecting you to the point that you can no longer be happy in what you do, in teaching for VIP Kid, then I think that's your personal decision. And if you choose to leave, then that's how it should be. For me personally, I'm not on the new pay scale yet. My contract expires the end of this month. And so I'll be signing a new contract and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to see how it goes. Yes, it does bother me that my pay will be less and I'll be doing the same amount of work. But that's something that, as my daddy said, I had two choices. I can stay and change it or I can get out. I don't think I'm going to have any luck changing it, but I'm going to stay. The second thing that I've been seeing a lot of controversy about is bookings. This is a very difficult time of year for our students and for us. Think about it. Not only have they had the coronavirus, which created havoc with everything they did, just like it did for us, they also went to virtual learning more so than they have in the past. So maybe your bookings picked up there back in March and April and May, and then now they've dropped. Well, they did summer, they had summer vacation, and now they're going back to school. Almost all of my students have indicated that they're back in school. Um, and so I think that would account for some of the drop in bookings. I think that there are major shifts that are occurring with VIP Kid itself. I've read about parents telling teachers that they are leaving VIP Kid for another company, just like, we have that choice also. Um, I have been very, very fortunate in that while I'm not teaching nearly as many classes as I did in the beginning, my classes are filling fairly consistently. I still get a lot of cancellations, and that's very frustrating for me because I basically teach regulars. And let me just share what I did for you new folks out there. When I first started, I definitely thought of this as a business, still do, but I sought out as many opportunities to teach as I could. I was to the point that I fell asleep in church. I mean, seriously, when that happened, it was like, okay, I know I've got to start cutting back. But I had to do that in order to get base that base of regulars so that I could then begin to shift my scheduling around. If you're their favorite teacher, if you're the teacher they really love and want to have class with you, they'll follow you. You may lose a few. I've lost a lot the along the way. I was teaching, over 200 classes a month and falling asleep in church, and so I definitely cut down. I'm only teaching 36 classes a week, or out in 36 slots. Um, and so that's a big difference from the 50 plus classes that I was teaching a week before. I've eliminated all my night times simply because they weren't for me. It was just more and more difficult for me to teach at night. But if you're new, open as many slots as you can. If you're lacking in bookings and you need more slots, open those slots and somebody will fill them. It may take a while, it won't happen overnight, but you've got to get that business mentality. You've got to give the customers what they want. And that means when you get a new student, you pour everything you possibly can into that student. I'm not saying you haven't already, but I'm saying you really do everything you can in that lesson and with your feedback and sending cards, sending gifts if you want to. That's how I got my very first regulars. I had them, and when I'd had them about 3 or 4 times, I thought, I'm going to make them a regular. I'm going to make this person into a regular student. And that's what I did. I sent gifts. Didn't spend a whole lot of money, but it made a huge impact with my students. Maybe that's bribery, I don't know, but whatever works, you've got to give. Think about the businesses that you frequent. You don't go to a business. Well, let me just give you this example. When we first moved to this city, which was back in 2013, so 7 years ago, we needed some new furniture. And so we went to a furniture store here locally. We walked in, and the salespeople were sitting behind the counter. First of all, the store was jam packed, so there were lots of choices, but it was very overwhelming. So remember that. Don't overwhelm your students. And the second thing that happened that impacted us was that they were eating their lunch and they said, we're going to eat our lunch. Let us know if we can help you. We walked around a little bit and we left because first it was overwhelming, and secondly, there was not customer service. Granted, I know they needed to eat their lunch, but we were customers and it wasn't like the store was jam packed. I think we may have been the only folks there. So that lost them a sale. We went to another furniture store and immediately were greeted, went with us, didn't pressure us, but went with us and asking us questions to help us pick out that furniture that we wanted. And that's where we bought some furniture. So apply that to your business. Apply that concept to what you're doing with your business. And I've shared before, in the beginning, I really was logical, excuse me, and intentional about everything I did. I kept up with the numbers. I knew how many students I had, how many I was going to have, and if they canceled a class, I sent a card. There are plenty of free cards. Granted, now we can't personalize that note, but you can get your message across. So work that business as a business. Now, there was one more thing that I'm reading about bookings and about changes in VIP Kid. Oh, the curriculum changes. Guys, we can't control that. We cannot control. Definitely, we can provide suggestions and we can provide feedback. But I'm not going to stress over something I can't control. I go back to my daddy's philosophy. If you can't change it and it's bothering you enough, then you get out. Otherwise, you accept it and you stay and you move forward. I personally, the curriculum changes, yeah, that sort of is aggravating, irritating, whatever. Sometimes when, especially if you're using like the Google Planner and you have your lessons planned and then you go, oh shoot, that's a new lesson and I forgot to change all of that. I think they've corrected all that now, but it's not a huge issue and I'm not going to stress over it. And maybe that's easy for me to say. Some of that comes with age, not stressing over things. Some of that comes with um, I have the luxury of this is a side job. I'm retired. And so I have my retirement and my Social Security, and this is extra income for me. And I know if it was my main source of income, I would be stressing a lot more. So I'm not putting you down. And if you're stressing, like I said in the very beginning, you do you. You do what works for you. Guys, I know this has been quick and I hope it's been helpful. Those were just some things that I'm seeing on Facebook that stood out to me. And there's lots of talks of other companies. And if that's what works for you, go for it. I'm not going to criticize you or look down on you if you add another company or even if you leave VIP Kid. But I hope you don't. Hope you don't because it's a good place to work. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off and go get some coffee. I just finished teaching and I am needing coffee. Goodbye, guys. See you next time.